And welcome. This is Purdue Package, once again, Season 2, Episode 1. Tommy Barrett alongside Conner Hoke. And we got the best sport talk show here on campus of Purdue University. We're down in the bottom, in the basement of Stewart Center. And Conner, welcome back. Another great year of Purdue Package.
Yeah, absolutely. Come back from summer. Now it's time to start talking about what really matters in life.
Exactly, sports. And this is the fall semester, just when everything gets going. Basketball starts to heat up at the end of the summer, or at the end of the fall semester. But before that, football season. And Purdue, rough 2 years, 4-20 the past 2 years, but it's the third year in Darrell Hazel's career here at Purdue. Tough schedule this year, but it's time for football. Saturday, spin it on your couch and watch football.
Yeah, and Purdue actually opens up on a Sunday this year in Huntington, West Virginia, of all places, taking on the Marshall Thundering Herd. Marshall, a good team, coming back 13-1 last year, and they've got some question marks, just like Purdue. It should be a fun matchup.
They scored 45 points a game last season. They lose their starting quarterback. They had 40 touchdowns last year, 20 passing, 20 rushing. Their running back comes back, 17 touchdowns last year. How is Purdue going to stop them?
Well, yeah, it's going to start up front, and without Robinson, who's serving a 2-game suspension for several off-season issues, they're even thinner up there in that front line. Plus, you've got Bentley, Jimmy Herman, and even Ezekatu, who are all kind of beat up right now in that linebacking core. It's going to be tough for Coach Hudson and the Boilermakers on that side of the ball.
So what do you think? This is the season, right? This is the make it or break it season for Darrell Hazel, correct?
Yeah, on paper, this is the most talented team you've had, and you've got the most experience now.
So that means that the Purdue Boilermakers are destined for a good season.
Well, you would think, but there are some issues in that back. In the secondary, you've got two great corners in Frankie Williams and Anthony Brown, but there's not a lot of depth behind them and even less experience back there. So if you get some injuries back there, you're going to have some major question marks. And then at wide receiver, there's a lot of unproven guys. If you look at the depth chart, Dominic Young's going to get his first start. He's a JUCO kid, first year on campus. D'Angelo Yancey was kind of MIA last season, had a couple good plays, but was not nearly as good as he was his freshman year. And then you got Anthrop coming back from his ACL injury.
And Anthrop is poised. He's poised to have a good season. And especially with Austin Appleby named the starting quarterback, they have some chemistry. They know how to do it. So let's start out. Marshall is the first game of the season on Sunday. Do you think they'll be able to pull out the victory?
Yeah, I think that Purdue's going to come out. They've got all of their offensive linemen returning for this season, and I think that.
Let's talk about the running back position too. DJ Knox comes in, not a very highly recruited player, but he has a lot of talent.
Yeah, I think this year Purdue fans are going to see a little bit different style of running back. Last year you had Akeem Hunt and Raheem Monster, who were kind of track guys. They ran really, really fast, and I think you're going to see a different ground and pound offense this year.
Okay, so then we have Marshall, Indiana State, Virginia Tech, the first 3 games of the season. You think they'll go 3-0, or you think they might slip up somewhere?
I think they go 2-1. I think they get Marshall and Indiana State.
Okay, Bowling Green, Michigan State, Minnesota is the next 3. Any wins there?
No, I think that's 0 for 3.
Okay, Wisconsin, Nebraska, Illinois after that.
I think they get Illinois and Northwestern.
Okay, and then Iowa and Indiana for the Oaken Bucket to close out the season.
I think they get the old Oaken Bucket back in West Lafayette.
So how many games is that? Is that 5 games out of you?
That's 5 games.
Purdue Package listeners, I got 10 games. The Boilermakers are going to the Rose Bowl, in my opinion. I don't care what Conner thinks. I know what's going to happen here in West Lafayette because this is the year, Conner. I don't care. We had it on the radio show as well, but this is the year. The Boilermakers are headed back to the Rose Bowl. And just like that, we'll take our first commercial break. We'll be back in 30 seconds, and we're talking soccer and we're talking volleyball.
We are all Boilermakers, but we're also much more. We're history makers, exploring the farthest reaches of our universe, often when strapped to a rocket. We are hope makers, rebuilders of Haitian cityscapes who ensure they'll now withstand any disaster. We are difference makers, developers of drought-resistant crops that just might end world hunger. The fact is, what we make moves the world forward. We are Purdue, makers all.
And welcome back to the Purdue Package. Conner Hoke alongside me, Tommy Barrett. And now that we're done talking football, we'll talk a little bit of soccer, and then we'll preview a little special surprise for you tonight on Purdue Package. We have a guest for you. Annie Drews will join us very shortly. So let's talk about soccer first, though. This soccer team is legit this year.
Yeah, Drew.
It's that simple.
Coach Drew Roth's doing a great job in his first season, coming over into the Big Ten, moving up obviously in conference, and he's doing a great job. Started off, they got a couple wins against quality programs in Baylor and Missouri last weekend.
Well, it's Baylor and Xavier got a loss against Missouri, which was tough. A tough loss. They were ahead 2-1. They gave up a 2-2 goal, and then they gave up one in overtime to take a 3-2 loss. But they've only lost one game so far this season. Maddie Williams, 6th in the NCAA, leading the Big Ten in scoring with 6 goals. Unbelievable.
She's playing out of her mind right now, and you just have to hope that it continues.
Unbelievable play by the Purdue Boilermakers. And Drew Roth is the only 2nd head coach in Boilermaker history in the soccer program.
Yeah, doing a great job so far.
What can you ask for? Now, we'll talk about some volleyball. And this volleyball team, once again, we have some good programs. So why I think this Purdue program and every single one will be better this year. 3-0 so far. Headed to St. Louis this weekend. Won the Mortarboard Premier Championship. Annie Drews looks pretty good in her senior year.
Yeah, last season Purdue played well. They had a decent record. Didn't get into the NCAA tournament.
It was tough.
Despite having a winning record and even being ranked at one point in the season, but finished poorly down the stretch against the Big Ten, but right now off to a strong start.
And that's what happens. Do you think they get back to the NCAA tournament this year, though?
Well, I think a lot of it will have to do with how they play on the road. Last year, only 5-7 on matches on the road. You've got to play better in those road games, especially in the Big Ten. You have to be able to go to the Penn States and...
So Penn State's tough. They're number 4 in the country right now.
Yeah, the Penn States, the Illinois, and the Ohio States, and you have to go win those games and make some marquee victories.
7 teams right now ranked in the Big Ten for volleyball. One of them being Purdue, ranked at 24th in the nation right now. Watch out, Boilermaker fans. This team is striving to get back to the NCAA tournament. Last year was tough. This Boilermaker team, they struggled down the stretch. They played so well in the beginning of the year. Do you think they can avoid that this year?
Yeah, I think they can. I think they've got great senior leadership, and we're going to talk to one of them, like you said, here coming up. And I think that Coach Shondell's got them in a great spot right now.
What do you think is the biggest addition besides the 2014 National Player of the Year, 2014 Gatorade Player of the Year, coming to Purdue this year? She's making a big impact. Alexis Smith, she's the real deal.
Yeah, absolutely. She's great, and she's had a phenomenal start. It's always tough to make that transition to the next level, but I think that she's got enough supporting cast around her and some upperclassmen that are doing a great job.
And you have Azaria Stahl, Annie Drews, Danielle Catino. This team is legit, and I don't see anything other than the 2015 NCAA tournament in their future. Annie Drews will join us very, very shortly, right after this commercial break. So stay tuned here. Annie Drews next on Purdue Package.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
And welcome back to Purdue Package, and we are joined by our very special guest tonight, senior outside hitter of the Purdue women's volleyball team, Annie Drews. Annie, welcome to Purdue Package.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This is fun.
This is fun. So you are in the middle of your season. You just got finished playing the Mortarboard Premier Championship, and you guys won. You're undefeated so far. What does that mean? It's your senior year. What does that mean for you?
I think it's really exciting. It's awesome to start off your season at home and kind of have all your fans, have your parents come and all your friends, and I think that was what was the most fun. And I think it's really exciting to say we're 3-0. Not a lot of teams can do that because you don't really know what kind of team you're working with until you put them against a team that you haven't played before. So we're really grateful to be 3-0 and have the weekend we did, and we're excited to use that momentum moving forward.
So do you guys have confidence now building into the rest of the season, or does it actually mean anything winning this championship, or is it kind of just it's kind of the beginning of the season?
Yeah, you have to take it with a grain of salt. It's exciting. It's a good thing. We definitely we celebrated and we were excited. But I think moving forward, that just kind of fuels the next team you play. When they look at a record and see 3-0, when they look at a team that has had success in the past and a Big Ten team. I think that, we have the target on our back. So it was awesome. It happened, but we're excited to move forward and hopefully go 3-0 this weekend as well.
Awesome.
And then last year you guys went 22-10. Obviously missed out on the NCAA tournament. So in this off season, how much did that drive you personally and then the team in general to try and make it this year?
I think in the off season it helped us out a lot. I think it definitely makes people ready and vulnerable to make changes. But I think Coach Shondel's main point moving forward has been, we can't look at last year as a bad year. We played a lot of good volleyball last year, and we had a good team last year. The chips didn't fall where we wanted them to, and but we can't look at last year as like a bad omen, because really it gave us this new attitude moving forward, and so in a lot of ways we should be thankful for it.
Of course, you guys were great last year. It just didn't happen for you. And now this year, 7 Big Ten teams are ranked in the top 25. You guys being one of them. So how important is it to play well, like you already have in the beginning of your season, in the non-conference half, and then before you get into the Big Ten?
Yeah, it's a really competitive conference, and I think it's been it's good to play teams that are kind of different than Big Ten teams, so you can kind of get used to anything. There's, every Big Ten team is hard, but I think it makes it difficult to prepare for Big Ten teams solely. So you kind of have to be ready to play anybody, and I think playing, big teams, small teams, fast teams, slower teams is really good to help us moving forward.
Okay.
And then with this year being your senior year, have you tried to kind of take a step back and kind of enjoy everything that's going on, or are you kind of focused in the here and now?
Definitely have worked on trying to just have fun and enjoy it. I told Coach, I said, the best thing I can do is just love my teammates and bring energy into the gym. I'm not going to yell at people. I'm not going to be aggressive. That's just who I am. And so if that can make people around me play better, then that's great.
Of course, you got to win the games.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite thing to do when you're not playing volleyball here at Purdue? This is the best university in the world. What do you like to do?
I love to be outdoors, anything outside, and I also love to cook.
You love to cook. What is your favorite thing to cook?
Oh man, I like to bake.
Okay.
I like to make chocolate chip cookies, but I will make anything. I make homemade ice cream. I'll do pot roast, whatever. I love trying new recipes.
Okay, so we're gonna do a little quick kind of question kind of thing. So you play in front of the Boiler Box Band. What does that mean to you? Or who is your favorite Boiler Box Band member?
I can't pick a favorite. They're all great. They're the fueling power behind some of our big matches.
Okay.
Okay, so then you said you like to cook, but what is your favorite food?
I really like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. It's pretty simple.
Very simple. What is your favorite class here at Purdue that you've taken or taking now?
I took a cultural and health and agriculture class where you learn about different cultures and what they eat and how they cook and what that means to them. It was interesting.
All right, and then probably the most important question we'll ask you, Chipotle or Qdoba?
Chipotle, for sure.
Boo. What's your favorite sport to watch other than volleyball?
Basketball.
That's a good answer. We like basketball around here.
Is there anything that your team does before the game, kind of like a pregame ritual?
We are throwing all the rituals out the window this year and
Really?
just going out and having fun and playing volleyball.
That's fun. So who are the best dancers and the worst dancers on the team? Can you tell us, or is that a secret between you guys?
The best dancer is Azaria Stahl, for sure, and the worst dancer is by far Kaisley Fisher.
Wow, okay, and that's good that you didn't throw your name in either category.
Nope.
Well, Annie, we want to thank you for joining us here on Purdue Package. It was great to have you, and we want to we want to wish you good luck in the rest of your season.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Annie Drews, member of the Purdue Volleyball team, outside senior hitter. Watch her on Beeland Court inside of Holloway Gymnasium. And with that, we'll be right back here on Purdue Package.
That we do, and we try and
You. Yeah, you. Have you ever dreamed of being on TV? Well, in the Brian Lamb School of Communication, we do more than that. You can learn about camera operation, lighting techniques, live TV shows, real client PSAs, weekly news productions, and more. For more information about the video production programs, visit our website or the advising office.
Welcome back to Purdue Package, and once again, we'll come back with the favorite segment of ours. This is the Big Ten Breakdown. 6 topics, 180 seconds, and we're going to start off with Ohio State football. Do they repeat as national champions, Connor?
Well, I think they got to be the favorites. I think it's hard to repeat, but they're too deep at every position, and I think that they've got a good shot.
Why not? You know, Ezekiel Elliott, you bring back all 3 of your quarterbacks. When have you been able to do that as a Heisman runner? Come on, Ohio State. It's too easy. Men's basketball. What do you think? Who wins the Big Ten in men's basketball season? We know the Boilermakers. We know how good they are, but do they do it?
No, I think it's going to be Maryland. I think that Maryland's got a stacked roster. They're good. They've got a great front court, probably the best in the conference. Purdue's a close second, and I think that they've got enough depth in the backcourt to
Do
win
we at
it.
least finish higher than IU?
Yeah, I think we're.
Of course,
I
there we go.
I think we're top 3.
Okay. Now let's move to the women's basketball side. Who do you got on the women's side?
I think I got to take Minnesota. Minnesota had a good year last year, and I like where they're at in women's basketball, and I think Purdue's going to have a better year than last year.
I agree with that. I think they will be better than they were last year. I think every single Purdue sport will be better this year. Just something that, in my opinion, is going to happen. I got Ohio State in the women's basketball side, so we'll see what happens there. What about Illinois? They fired their head coach just before the season. Why do you think they did that?
Well, I think that they obviously, I think they talked to the players and people close to the program, and they decided that was the best move. So we'll see if the intern coach is able to do a good job and maybe see if they can't turn their season around because they're struggling also.
Yeah, they're just like in the same boat as Purdue. They got to produce some wins, otherwise more head coaches going out the building. Not last one. IU basketball, continuing with the off-court trouble. What do you make of it?
It seems like every year it's something new, whether it be even just outside of basketball. With football, they've had a couple issues. I think that Fred Glass has to take a look at the programs and try to find something to change, because something's got to change. Otherwise, you're going to keep seeing the same behavior.
Amen Holt kicked off of the team. We'll see what happens with Thomas Bryant. Last one. Who wins the West side in the Big Ten in football?
For me, I got to go with Minnesota. I think that Mitch Leidner comes in looking as good of a passer as he's been in his entire career. I think they have some sort of passing game, and then those continue to run it and play defense and win.
So you're telling me you're going to pick Minnesota. You know what team plays in the West, right? You know the Boilermakers are in the West, but you think we're only going to win 5 games, right?
Yeah, it's hard to win the West winning 5 games.
The Boilermakers, I'll say it once again. 10 wins, that means they win the West, that means they go to the Rose Bowl, and that means they beat Minnesota. That means they beat the Hoosiers. They'll beat everybody.
So do they win the Big Ten Conference?
Of course, no, I don't think I can say that because I got Ohio State winning the national championship. Those two don't add up, but the Boilermakers, they can win the West.
Michigan State will give Ohio State a run for their money. I bet that game is within a touchdown.
Really? Yep. Hey, you heard predictions from Conner Hoke, Tommy Barrett, Conner Hoke. The first episode of Season 2 of Purdue Package in the books. We'll look forward to joining you next time. Thanks for watching.